Cohen was born on March 15th, 2016, and he was born with Down syndrome, a birth diagnosis. About 9 months later, he started having infantile spasms, and through that, lots of failed treatments and a big downturn in his development. He started to need a feeding tube, lots of therapies, and we just noticed a huge difference in him. In reality, he was just a vegetable that needed to be fed, that we were trying to get back to what he was before his spasms. Through that, we found a doctor at Riley that recommended VIPS for us, and we discovered that Cohen had a cortical vision impairment.
So raising a child with the complications that Cohen has been definitely a challenge. I think a challenge I'd take on again. I think you would too. But it's almost hard to describe. I think when you're in it and it's the beginning of it all, nothing else could be as hard as what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do to help your child. However, looking back, I think I would do it again. Of course, all the hospital stays, all the therapies, all the doctor's appointments, all the notes, all the surgeries and everything else definitely puts a load on your family. But I think Amanda and I could both take it. I think the hardest thing to do was put our daughter through that, put Cohen's sister through some of those surgeries and hospital stays. Now, she's been great through it all, but you worry about him getting sick and having another hospital stay, so you try not to go out as much. You try not to be around as many people as you did beforehand, and it puts a little bit of an impact on your social. It puts an impact on your marriage. It puts an impact on where you go, what you do, how you sleep, how you stay up, how you react to someone coughing in a restaurant or walking by someone that just sneezed. It definitely makes you aware of everything else around you. But I think with Cohen, it's definitely been a learning experience. I think we've both grown because of that. Having the resources and the help from, say, VIPS or any other therapy that we've had has been helpful, because
we don't know.
No.
And we've had to depend so much on other people for every little thing, because it's learning something brand new every time with him. I mean, even his feeding, his diet, the way that we play with him, the way that we read to him, and how we can describe things to him to help him understand more what's on the page. But I think it's made us better people, and I think that it's even made our daughter a better person, and clearly it's definitely helping Cohen to be a better person. Our first VIPS visit was much different than his visits are today. Cohen was not doing well when we started vision therapy and was not responsive to many, many different things. In fact, most of the time he just kept his eyes closed, and it was very hard to try to show him the things that Amy was trying to show him. But Amy didn't give up hope, and she kept trying, and she talked about how she would just continue to reach out to other people to figure out how to help Cohen, and her persistence really paid off. I think Cohen is responding in such a different way right now, and he's a different kiddo than when he first started. But even though there wasn't a lot of success in the beginning, Amy didn't give up hope, and she kept pushing and had perseverance to help Cohen. We had never really heard of a cortical vision impairment until Cohen, and I'm a teacher, and I still didn't know much about where Cohen is and how to help him. So Amy has been a blessing in our lives. She's very positive. She knows that we're faith-filled people, and so she shared that, she is as well. And I think that just sharing that journey together has been amazing. But Amy includes our daughter, who is 7, with therapy anytime that our daughter's willing. And so she knows that Mary Kate has been a great teacher for her brother Cohen. But she's just super positive. No matter what, she notices the good things that Cohen is doing. And there were times when that was really, really hard to do. And she remained positive because we needed her to be positive too. But she has truly been a blessing to our lives. And she is more than willing to seek out resources. She always brings something fun and interesting that Cohen loves for therapy. And we are very thankful to have Amy in our lives and to be helping Cohen.
We've actually used a lot of Amy's ideas in other therapies, so not just visual, but with developmental, with occupational, with physical therapies. We've used a lot of her resources and a lot of the ideas that she brings to us in those other therapies too, which has been greatly beneficial even for those therapists.
Right, and
sharing those ideas.
We have even combined her therapy with each of the other therapists so that they can kind of see the things that she's working on, and it's definitely been beneficial to everyone that's worked with Amy. We owe a lot of thanks to his VIPS therapist, to Amy, because we think she's made a huge difference in his life, and we are so thankful for the therapy that she's provided and giving him skills that he used to have that he didn't have for a very long time.
So looking back on our journey so far, which has only been 2.5 years or so.
It feels like a lot longer than that sometimes.
It does. A lot of people kind of ask us, what would you do differently? What would you say to somebody else that's starting this journey? I think what I would tell that family is reach out to other people like us who have had the journey so far, who know maybe a little bit more. No, we don't know everything. No, we're not perfect at this, and we're learning every day. But I think when we started this, a lot of people were reaching out to us and, get some of their ideas, lean on them a little bit. And we were always kind of a little, I would say bashful, but a little hesitant to do that. And now looking back, I don't think I would do that. I think I would reach out to them, and we would encourage other families starting this journey with their child to reach out to those people, to utilize that network of people that are out there to lean on, to ask questions, support.
Right, and that it is okay to have bad days, that this journey is hard. It can be very hard, and it does feel lonely sometimes, and sometimes you're going to be discouraged, and it's okay to have a bad day. But one friend told me one time, have a bad day today, but tomorrow can't be a bad day. You've got to accept it, and you just have to move on. And so finding ways to do that, to never give up hope, and don't be afraid to lean on other people. I think one of the biggest challenges that we faced raising Cohen was around last year when he, in the winter and the fall, when he started getting very, very sick with lots of respiratory issues. We spent a lot of time in the hospital. We were admitted during October. We were admitted in November. We spent all of Thanksgiving at Riley. We spent all of Christmas at Riley and got to come home on Christmas Eve by begging and pleading to get to come home. But through that, we were actually told that he didn't have a very good chance of pulling through. In essence, that we really needed to figure out a plan for how far we would intervene with him when the time came, which they thought was very close. And so knowing that we had poured all of this time and energy and love into this sweet baby and that it still wasn't helping was hard. That was something that we had never expected to face, and just to still try to stay hopeful during that. But somehow something just changed in Cohen, and all of a sudden he became stronger, and what became one of our biggest challenges raising Cohen has now, in this year, turned into lots of amazing things. He smiled again for the first time in hundreds of days and laughs, and he laughs every day now. He looks at us, he follows us, he watches what we're doing, he can touch us when he tries to reach out, he can see us to touch us, and just interacting with him right now every day has turned those hardest days into our brightest. One of my favorite things about Cohen is just being able to snuggle with him. He is two and a half, and because he's not mobile yet, sometimes, well, he is mobile. He can roll all over the place, but he's not able to crawl or walk, and sometimes I let that get me down, but most of the time I say, I snuggle my boy all the time. He's a really good snuggler, and he loves to play. It is so much fun at the end of the day to come home and play with Cohen and watch him persevere through things that are so easy for somebody else that he fights for every day. But it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
I think my favorite thing is watching him enjoy his environment now, where before he didn't care about toys. He wasn't playing with them. You'd shake something in front of him, things that would light up, or small pianos, things like that. He didn't have any interest in them. Now watching him, go to some of his favorite toys, you'll put 3 and 4 on the floor with him and watch him roll to his favorite one and actually interact with it and play with it, or watch him roll by 2 other toys to get to something he really wants to do, I think is one of my favorite things. And the other one, just something real small, is watching how proud he is of himself. Like when he does pick something up. I think a couple weeks ago he picked up a little block and held it and kind of looked at it, and after he put it down, he just kind of looked up at everyone like, see, look what I did.
Right.
And I think he just knows that he's trying so hard, and how proud of him we are when he does do something like that. I think that's a couple of my favorite things about what he does.
I also like watching Mary Kate, our daughter who's 7, celebrate his small successes that are not small. They are big. But watching how proud she is too. I remember the doctors telling us, you just have to learn to advocate for him. And I remember looking at each other at the hospital right after he was born and saying, I don't know how to advocate for him. And boy, oh boy, we have definitely learned that. And I think that's a big piece of advice that we have for other families.
I think for me, the biggest thing is advocation. So again, like Amanda said, after he was born, people say, well, you're going to have to advocate for him. You're going to have to, go into a doctor's office and learn how to speak for your child. And I'm thinking, yeah, I know how to do that. I know how to keep my child's best interests at hand, but I don't think I really understood what that meant. I think I do now, where from a doctor, from a therapist, or from anyone, I don't take no for an answer. I look for second opinions. I look for more research. I want the answers, and I want what's best for him.
Cohen has a lot of health complications. He has heart conditions, he has seizures, he has Down syndrome, he has urinary issues, he has feeding issues, and so sleep issues. There are a ton of complications, and sometimes I struggle to know which group to follow, but keep looking. There will be a group that fits your needs, and it helps tremendously just to know that somebody else is dealing with something similar to you. And a lot of times we find that our situation, as bad as it is, isn't as bad as what other people have. And so we make it through, and we're thankful for lots of people that have been positive forces in our lives. And one of those is Vips. And we would like to say a big thank you
to Vips for helping us out.